We now have done a few months of quote normalcy in track and field because we're having a season. We had an indoor NCAA championship. We're presumably going to have an outdoor NCAA championship. What have been the pros and cons that you've seen of the way we've kind of gotten back to track, whether it's the way meets are run or the lack of meets or the different types of meets that we're getting? What have you noticed in this kind of trial run of doing track and field in an era of COVID?
Well, I think one thing that we've all noticed, and that's probably across the board in sports, is how technically little control the NCAA really has. The control is them; they control the nationals, the conference controls the conferences, and then the teams control themselves. So there's just no real top-down leadership that can say, well, we're all running or we're not running. Here's the protocol or isn't the protocol. Each conference has their own way of testing, their own way of events. Some are in, some are out. And I just think that that's been the biggest challenge for all of us. Because if you look at the conferences that ran all year, they made a tremendous commitment to make sure that they're giving their student athletes the absolute best opportunity to compete. Well, if you pull a conference meet like we did, one of the few, then all of a sudden you're not committing to the national championship, and so you kind of took a season away. So that's the big challenge and of this year is that there really is no way for a broad sweeping. Okay, this is the way the testing is going to be. These are kind of events. Every single venue has to do X, Y, Z, and we're going to have nationals. We're going to have conferences, but because it's just too difficult to have all these different things, and that's not just track and field. That's all sports. I mean, our conference, believe it or not, only cut track and field indoors. So every other sport had their conference, which we were happy about. But it just doesn't make sense that you can't find a way to have track if you can have swimming and volleyball and all these other indoor sports that they're doing.
What are we gonna have? Your conference gonna compete outdoors like
Yes.
championship?
Yeah, we're going to have our outdoor championship, and we're moving along. It's a different energy right now, and they understand that. And the thing about it, just because of that conference meet, it's different. I mean, we started the season indoors, and we just never got anything going. And what it ultimately ended up was some of our conference team came to three home meets because we have an indoor facility. And for the men's sprints, it was sometimes it was like a scrimmage, and then the seniors couldn't run, so they weren't engaged. And that was it. But outdoors, it's full speed ahead, and you could tell by our performance. Our first meet, it was okay to get started, and everyone hadn't run in so long. And then our second meet with Texas Relays, it was phenomenal. The performances were different. The energy was different. So you don't realize it, even though Houston men have not lost a conference meet since 2015, indoor or out. You don't realize how much energy you put into that because we look back and did a study with us, and about more than 60% of the athletes qualified for nationals at the conference meet. So that's a different energy, and I think that cutting back the regional from 48 to 32 is also raises a little bit for them, and I think they're a little misguided. I'm not against lowering the number of the regional, to be honest, but I think in a COVID year, it's not fair because we have seniors that should be gone with freshmen that are just coming in. And it's just going to make it difficult for the new athletes to make it. Although, in a non COVID year in the future, I'm not against lowering the regional number from 48, but definitely not this year.